Hi, I'm Bunny Cakes and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Um, so this was a really good book. It's kind of dystopian and there's a lot of computer and video game stuff that takes place in this. Nearly the entire story takes place inside a video game, an MMORPG, not unlike World of Warcraft, but bigger. But it's really accessible to people who don't know a whole lot about computers and video games because a lot of the things that you need to know if you don't are explained. I really enjoyed the fact that they go through and explain some of the leet speak because it's not as big now as it used to be. And as we move forward in internet and digital culture, it will need to be explained as well because people won't remember it as much. This book, it follows a character named Wade Watts, and he's 18 and he's about to graduate high school, and he's what they call a gunter, and he's trying to find these 3 keys to unlock an Easter egg in this game. And the way the contest got started was that the creator of the game passed away, and in his will, he willed his money and ownership of the game and his company to the person who finds the Easter egg. And in order to find the Easter egg, you have to get steeped in all of this 80s culture, which is what the creator wanted. And so you see a lot of like Back to the Future references and Ghostbusters and 16 Candles and all of these old TV shows that I'm almost too young to remember. And I noticed that the 80s is a big running theme with a lot of dystopian things. The world kind of gets stuck in the 80s. In this case, the world moved on from the 80s, but the 80s came back as a fad because of this contest. And the world that these people live in when they're not jacked into the game is a world that we easily could live in the not too distant future. The economies have collapsed, countries have collapsed, there's almost no more fossil fuel and people are still dependent on it. Cities have collapsed and most people live piled up in like bigger cities like Columbus and New York, and nearly everybody is poor, and even the people who feel like they're living like in a decent level like live 6 families to a double wide trailer, and they feel like they have a lot of space living like that. And it's that part's kind of scary because it could so easily be the world that we live in about the amount of time that this book takes place, because this book takes place in 2044. So yeah, in 20 years we could be near or at a point like that. So for me, that made it really poignant, but it was such a fun read because of the mystery and the action, and even the little tiny bit of romance, and it also had some Lord of the Rings feels, and it touched on some of my favorite things from the 80s like Star Wars and Star Trek, and it even touches on anime, which is really fun. Some old 80s anime, most of which I didn't know anything about, but I looked them up later and now I'm totally interested. And I just love the way this book works out. So Wade, he finds the first Easter egg, and after that, he's basically fighting for his life because hits get put out on him, mostly by this big evil corporation that wants to run the Oasis but can't because of the legally binding will and contract that won't let them. And that's actually in the book blurb, so it's not a spoiler. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I'm recording this review a little while afterwards because some things came up and I wasn't able to record it like right after I finished reading it. But also, I tend to like to do that a little bit because it gives me time to percolate the story and think about some of the finer points. And this story was so good. I kind of wish there was a sequel, but there also doesn't need to be. Like it's a good one-off book. It's just the story was told so well that I wanted more. And I still want more. It's a really good book, and I highly recommend it. I found out about this book through Peter Mon. He read it. I want to say it was one of his favorite books from last year. And yeah, it's amazing. Um, Probably one of my favorite books so far this year. I really loved it, and I highly recommend it. But now I'm rambling, so I'm going to say keep reading, and I'll see you next time.